Hey guys, what's up? This is Simon from DevTactic. Today with a video tutorial on Swift and how to make REST API calls and parse JSON responses and so. So why do we do this? The general JSON response is okay, but if you have to work with it in Swift, it will end up like this. You have to parse it, and yeah, you see, you have to make 3 or 4 objects, cast them as NS dictionary to finally get anything from it. So today I will show you how to use this Swifty JSON helper, and we will make a simple demo application. So I already created a new single view application, and I need to mention you need to have the Xcode 6.3 beta or whatever is new when you're watching this, and have Swift 1.2 because we're using some functions from there. So make sure you have the correct version of Xcode. So I will start with dragging in the Swifty JSON file to our project. You can also include it with Cocoa Pods or Cottage, whatever. I had some problems doing that, so for now I will just drag it in here. And the next thing we're gonna do is add a new file. It's a Swift file, and this will be our REST API manager. So this class will somehow act as a facade to the REST API, and this class should make all the calls and return the JSON object from the NS data. So first of all, we make a type alias, which will be JSON and an optional NS error and void. This is an optional part, but it makes returning stuff a bit easier. So our class is the REST API manager, and this will be an NS object. So this first one, this static variable, is the reason why we need Swift 1.2, because this was first introduced then. So we make a shared instance, which is our REST API manager, and this line will help us to use this class as a single later on, which I think is very useful for our REST API manager. So the base URL in our example will be the api.randomuser.me. So this is just to grab some data from anywhere. You can paste it here and see you're getting a result which has an array of user objects with names and email and whatever, just some dummy data we can grab. So that will be our base URL. Next, our get random user function, which will just have a completion block which will return a JSON and void. So we don't have to make any changes here. Let's just skip that for now, because we have to implement the core function we will use, and this would be used in every call if you have another API or whatever. we just use it once, so we want to make an HTTP GET request, and we have to give a path, and also on completion we will have service response. So oh, come on. As you can see, this writing is a bit easier than always typing this, but our random user should not return any optional error or whatever. It should just return JSON, so I just use the service response here, and that's fine for now. So we start with a request, which will be an NS mutable URL request made from an URL, NS URL, with a string which is our path. Okay, so that's our request. Next we have to create an NS URL session. So that's the Swift style of talking to whatever on the internet. And find what's this problem? I don't know. Okay. And what is your problem? Yes, well, whatever. Okay, so finally we have our task, which will be the session data task with request and the completion handler. So we have our request object, and here we have our completion handler. So inside our completion handler we can modify this a bit to look a lot better. So just say data response error. Yes, even this can be removed, I think. Yeah, Swift is very cool with removing all those useless stuff. So we got our NS data response object here, and now we can just make ourselves a JSON object from exactly that data. I hope. I don't know if he's fine with that. Yeah. So this will call the Swifty JSON file and create a JSON object from it. So no worries about anything. And now we need to call our completion and just give it the JSON object and the error. So, oh no, yeah, that way. And the last thing we need to do is say task resume to perform all the action. So our random user or get random user is now a very simple function which will make a HTTP GET request to the base URL, and on completion call itself on completion, and it will say JSON, or I don't know if he knows that. Yeah, I thought we might say as JSON, but Swift is a clever boy. Okay, so that's the final REST API manager. So you can make more functions like this, and you would always use this core function or make HTTP post request or whatever, but in general you have just to make more of those functions and change your URL, or you could add a body with some data or whatever, but that should be the general core of some kind of manager. Okay, so next go to your view controller, as we need to show our data somehow, and we will display everything inside a table view. And for a table view, we have to have some items which will be an NS mutable array. Okay, so we can already subscribe to the UI table view data source and UI table view delegate. And for them we have to add, oh come on, size for row, no, what's the name of that again? Table view, come on, table view number of rows in section needs to be implemented, I guess. Where is it? Number of rows in section, which will return items.count. And we also have to implement cell for row at index path, which is here. Okay, well, so yes, whatever, I don't know what we want to return here. UI table view cell, we will come to that later. For now it's just we're subscribed to the UI table view delegate. So I'll remove this for now and we will use the view will appear. And now comes some basic framing stuff. Okay, so we create the new table view with our frame, and now we have to connect the data source, and we have to connect the delegate, and we have to add it as a subview. Okay, so that's our table view. We also need a button to call our function and perform the dummy user adding. So make a button which will be whatever position the height is whatever, 50 or so. Okay, just whatever, that's fine. So the button will, oh, okay, yes, it's an optional. And the button will just have some beautiful background color. So I prefer to have the beautiful UI color cyan color, but I don't know what's your favorite color. You can say me in the comment. So we set the title add new dummy for the UI control state normal. And we also have to add a target, which will be self. Add the dummy data, UI control events, touch up inside, and finally save view add subview the button. Okay, so now we just need to implement our function add dummy data, which will be called when we click on the button. Sorry. And add dummy data will now simply call our REST API manager shared instance get random user, and we have this completion block here. So we can simply say let results equal JSON results. So you might remind that we have results and here's an array of results inside. Currently we only get one object, but you could also make a request to get more objects. So here we get this array to be prepared for every case if you want to extend our demo. And also I'm gonna show you this because it's pretty cool how to iterate over our objects. So we can just make a sub JSON and we can go over all the user objects inside. So we can start with, we say it's any object because he don't likes it otherwise. So from the sub JSON we want to get the user object and we want to have it as an object. So now we can just add this user to our items and we will expand what's inside in our self-forward index path. So for here, just add it to our items, and as we're in the completion block of an asynchronous call, we need to dispatch our event dispatch async, oh come on, yes, here dispatch get main queue. Okay, so we need to dispatch what we want to do on the main queue because we want to now my auto completion's broken. Swift is not complete supported, I think. Yes, thanks Obama. So whatever, table view reload data. I don't know why it sometimes crashes. I have no idea. And this is completely fine here. And what is this? I don't need this. Yes, okay, so now it's fine. So as we want to reload our table view data, which means we need to update our user interface, we need to dispatch it to the main queue, otherwise we would wait some seconds until our table view gets updated. So keep that in mind if you want to update your UI in the completion block of something from the REST manager. Okay, so number of rows in section is already implemented, that's fine for here. The last thing we need to do is self-forward index path, classic UI table view, delegate, so create a cell which will be the table view dot whatever, and we name a cell as a UI table view cell, I think. Yeah. So if cell equals now, we need to create a new cell, preview cell style, UI table view cell style, where is it? Cell style, whatever, and we give in the viewer's identifier cell as we've already used it. So that's not interesting here. The interesting part comes now when we grab our user object, which is still a JSON object, and we make it that way because we get self.items and index path dot row. So we just get the object from our items array and create a JSON object from it, because we're pretty much sure we added a JSON object, so we can create a JSON object from it. So we got our user, and now we can get some information from the user. So we can just say user, which is a JSON object, give me the picture, and inside the picture give me the medium one, and finally make it a string. So this would be a real pain in the ass if you would just do it with Swift. All the casting and whatever, it's no fun. So here we can just access all that inside the JSON array in a single line. So that's perfect, really. And we can say let the URL be ns URL, just the picture URL, and oh, maybe that might be better. So here we just grab the picture of a dummy user, just for to show you a bit what we can do here. Okay, and we can also set the text label of the cell, and this is again very easy. Just say user, give me your username, and make a string from it. I think if we use string value, we might even not wrap it, so that's also cool. Whatever. Oh, what's his problem? Oh no, it's not contents of file, it should be contents of URL, obviously. Okay, so hope he's happy with that. And finally we set the image view of our cell, which will obviously be UI image created from the data we got from the image URL. And now we can return the real cell. So let's start it. Oh, if there's an error, we obviously can't start it. Yes, that's should be done there. And at this point our cell should be, oh come on, where's the problem in here? I hate those Swift error messages, they're just useless, I think. Okay, where's your problem, man? Am I in the wrong Xcode here? So there was no real problem, I don't know. I copied the Swifty JSON file new inside my project, and I don't know if there are any changes, or well, if you encounter any problems, just leave me a comment or tweet me something. We will get this working, so don't hang up on those. But I found another error because somehow, I don't know why, the auto-completion inside the completion block is not really good at the moment. So when we create a JSON object from ns data, we have to say data. Otherwise it won't be created. So now everything's connected. We should get the username and the picture in our rows, and we should be able to add some dummy users. So let's try it out. Okay, so in the beginning everything's empty. Let's try to add a user, and there it is, Mrs. GreenCat15. And now we can just grab more and more and more from the random user API. So as you can see, everything's working perfectly. We have our view controller, which talks to the REST API manager, which is a singleton, and we get those JSON objects we can easily grab the data from, which would otherwise be very hard inside this result, which have an array which has objects, and that would be a real pain. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I would be very happy if you follow my channel or come to my blog and leave me a comment, and have a nice day. See you the next time.